Hey guys, welcome back to Games on Fast Forward once again. This time we got Loser, but we won't be calling him Loser because that sounds too mean. We'll be calling him Lewis. We got Lewis
Hello.
running Gimmick 2 for us.
Hello. Yes. So my name is Lewzr, also Lewis. And this is Gimmick 2, 2D platformer. Really fun game. A lot of a lot of tech, a lot of platforming. Sequel to the original Gimmick game that was released on the Super Famicom back in the 1990s, I believe it was. And yeah, I think. Oh yeah, the incentive. So the incentive for this run is a little bit complicated. Throughout the game, there's different like treasures that you can collect in each world. There are like extra additional platforming challenges, and if you collect all of them, at the end of the game, the final boss turns into this like 4-phase fight with like difficult platforming sections. So if we reach the donation goal, we'll be showcasing not the full run, um, as in like collecting the treasures, but I will be going over like the Sorcerer's Castle, which is the name of the final world and the more difficult secret version. So if that sounds interesting, then keep the donations coming. Obviously, going towards the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So yeah, very cool
Yeah,
stuff.
give me a countdown whenever. And we'll just get the show running.
Something I will just explain real quick is that there are two difficulties. You can play on the Gimmick difficulty or the assisted difficulty. For this run, I'm playing on the assisted difficulty because it is ever so slightly quicker. What it does is it gives you more health. It also adds some extra platforms in places, allows to do some cooler movement. So, are you ready to go?
Yep. Give me a
All right,
countdown.
so we'll start in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So, starting off the run, I'll sort of explain a little bit of the basic mechanics. So, Yumataru, who is this little green guy, he doesn't have much in terms of movement himself. Most of the advanced mechanics come from the star, which you see me wielding there. And with the star, we can kind of throw it against walls, use it to build up momentum, and also kill enemies and interact with some different objects throughout the run. So you can see I can throw it against the wall, and as it acts as like a physical object, I can then jump off it and continue on with the run like that. So that's like the main gist of the run. We're going to be trying to use our star as much as humanly possible. Let's take a little death there. And basically just trying to optimize movement using the star. So in terms of the story about this game, it's pretty simple. You play as this little green guy called Yumataru. You were given to a little girl, mistaken as a toy, by the mother. And somehow the toys came to life. An evil sorcerer stole the child, and now it is your goal to go get her back. So usually you're meant to use that little switch there to activate some platforms to get up, but using the star and we're able to get up. Use the star to ride across this water here, and now we're moving on to the first walk point of the run. Throughout each level, there are 4 like walk points that you can walk between. They aren't really too impactful to the run. They're more just there for a casual playthrough to make the experience a little bit easier to traverse through all the different levels. And if we activate this switch, you gotta wait for this enemy because he can be on a little bit of an annoying cycle. And we're just gonna make our way through. Up here, you're meant to go down, but there is actually a secret if you take this pipe. Ooh, missed it there. There we go. And it ends up being slightly quicker because it removes a little bit of backtracking you have to do. Usually you're meant to activate that switch, we can just jump up here with a star, avoiding the slow obstacle. There is a very tight jump coming up. I'll see if I can try and hit it here. I didn't quite get it. If you can time your start just the right time, it can bounce, so you can generate enough momentum to actually make it into that pipe there. All in one. Nothing too interesting going on right now. Just kind of using the star as we've been doing so far already. Making our way through like this. Do have another pretty tight jump coming up. See if we can hit it here. Nice, we got it. That jump doesn't have much wiggle room. Sometimes the star can actually go into the star slot and activate a platform, which makes it quite a bit more lenient, but I think that ended up happening in this. We have to make it to the very far platform. And already we're kind of coming up to the end of Midsummer Meadow, this first level. We got a little bit more platforming here to do before we go back outside. Here we'll see if we can hit that. We can do something called a horizontal star here. Nice, got it. If you're going down a slope and you jump and release the star at the right time, if you land on a platform that's higher up than where you were on that slope, you can actually just like land on it, which is pretty cool. It's a little dev made shortcut here. If you go into that pipe, you can just skip a little bit of platforming. And now we have the first boss of the run that we're not going to do it. Most bosses in this game can be skipped. This one's by far the easiest. If you just don't trigger any of those enemies by carefully platforming around them, their king, which is supposed to be the first boss, just doesn't activate, and you can take the secret path through, and that's the end of the first world. If you're wondering why I exit a map at the end of each level, it's because at the end of each level there's like a pretty long animation that plays, but we can just skip over it by exiting the level. Ends up saving a good few seconds throughout the run. And so we're just going to grab this key, use it to open this gate here. And yeah, just nothing too interesting is going on right now. But I will just say, this game has an amazing soundtrack. If any of you are interested, if any of you guys are interested in video game music, the soundtrack in this game is one of the best I've ever heard. It was composed by David Wise, if any of you guys are familiar with him. I believe he also did Donkey Kong Country Returns, or one of the Donkey Kong games. One of the Donkey Kong Country games. Yeah, the soundtrack is a great listen, if you guys are interested. Using the star, we can activate that star slot as the platform, to make the platform move down. And if we're quick enough, yeah, the Ohagi, which are those little round enemies, can follow us down. We can kind of just jump off him, and skip, well, doing a little bit of backtracking, just saves a few seconds. And yeah, we're making some pretty good progress here. It's not even a bad run, to be honest. We're already coming up on like the second warp point, using the star. Ooh, just gotta kill this guy. We have to cancel that star early, otherwise it will hit the star slot and the platform will move up, and we won't make it. That's how you can be a little bit annoying. Oh my god. That's how you can be a little bit. That's how you can be a little bit annoying. Sometimes you can get in the way. It is I believe it is slightly better just to wait there to get a slightly easier cycle, but you can sometimes just barely make it. And yeah, we're already at warp point 2 of the run. As I grab this key and get launched back. And coming up, we do have a pretty major skip. It doesn't save that much. You're only around like 15 to 20 seconds, but it is still something I thought I'd try and explain in more detail. So what you're meant to do in this next section is you're meant to drop down into a hole, take a path to the left, and go through an extra room, which you'll see just as I go through these gates, there'll be a little hole. If we get a really tight star jump, nice, you can actually make it into that pipe. So if you see in the top left of the room, there is a pipe. That is usually where you enter, and you exit through this pipe, but we can just skip that room that's off to the left there. It saves a good chunk of time. And I should probably explain the kind of structure of the levels in Gimmick, as we come upon the first mini-boss of the run. In every world, excluding the first one, which is Midsummer Meadow, which is just used for an introduction, there is a main boss and a mini-boss midway through the world. So we're coming up on the mini-boss right now, where we have to do one of the most annoying skips in the run. Might take me a few tries, we'll see if we can get it though. It is pretty cool. It's pretty similar to the star ride that we made earlier to get into the pipe, except this one we have to do a new piece of tech called a double star jump. Yeah, the Ohagis are being annoying. You can actually use the Ohagis to kind of get a boost. However, yeah, sometimes the Ohagis do come out at like different times, which can just block your jumps, so they can be slightly annoying. Give it another try here. Right, we should be able to back it up with a double star jump though. It shouldn't be the end of the world. Or maybe I could do this. Oh, close. I'll give it a few more tries.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Okay, got the double star jump. Nice, made it.
Nice.
That skips having to kill all the minions. So even if you mess it up a couple of times, it does end up saving a good amount of time. Something you'll also notice is we didn't actually trigger the game to turn off the boss music. So if we wanted, we could just sit here and jam to it forever. However, there is a trigger coming up in just a few rooms' time that will disable the music, and that's coming up right here. And because now we're entering the kind of temple area of this level, which is called Tadpole Temple. And after we do this section, we have another pretty tight skip called Gate Skip. If I get the star in to grab the key. Okay, nice. Got up. So we're going to be throwing a star at a pretty precise time, using a visual cue setup. And what that allows us to do is skip a little bit of a puzzle that you have to do. You have to go up. You see, you have to go like up in that kind of direction to where that present is. If I time a star, nice, go first try. You can just barely jump over that gate and skip having to go the long way around. Ends up saving around 15 to 20 seconds, roughly, I believe. And yeah, already we're coming up on like the end of the level. Only got a few minutes left in this stage. That little skip that we do there, usually you have to go all the way along the bottom platforms and then go up onto the top platforms. We can just, if we time a star correctly, we can skip it. And we have another pretty major skip coming up here. I believe this one was intended by the devs. I'm not too sure. But usually we're meant to go down. If we time a star, nice. We can actually make it up here, which is where we skip a bunch of rooms doing that. Saves like at least a minute. It saves a good amount of time. We do some pretty risky sections coming up, so I'm just gonna kill that enemy. A pretty tight jump over that, and now we're entering the proper final areas of this stage. We currently have to go grab a key, which will then grant us access to the final boss of this world, which is just down here. We have to generate a good amount of speed to be able to make it, and we can actually carry it into here. If we get enough speed, we can actually make that tight jump through the slanted platform. There we go, there's the key. And then we can jump up here. And now we're at the boss. This boss can't be skipped or like cheesed in any way. So we actually have to like beat it like properly. However, there are like some general like fast strats that we can employ. The main thing is going to be we're going to have to manipulate like which side he goes on. So we're gonna stand on the left and immediately run to the right. Hit him with one star, and then get him with another. And then if we stand right, some spikes are going to rise. We can stand here, just in between where he spawns and the spike spawns, to get some free damage in. Return to level select, and we're done with that stage. Now, Arctic Ascent, it's a really beautiful stage. It's all, all nice and icy. However, unfortunately, there is also one half of the level that is not nice and icy, as we drop down into the horrible looking lava tunnel, and I hate this. It's awful, but luckily we actually get to skip pretty much all of it in a matter of seconds, so we'll see if we can hit it. I'm just gonna kill that Huggy because he's probably gonna mess it up. Oh, almost got it there. Nice. So this is a dev made shortcut, which basically skips about 90% of this underground section, which is usually like long, winding. There's not much cool stuff down there. So, very fortunate we're able to skip it. And now already we're coming up on the mini-boss for this stage, which once again, in Gimmick fashion, we're going to skip. Well, provided I can perform it correctly. Basically, we're going to come down here and we're going to grab this box. And we're going to make our way over to the boss fight. We're going to have to position this box in a pretty specific spot and use the star at the very peak of our jump so we generate the maximum height humanly possible to just barely be able to get out of the arena. Alright, so we'll wait for this thing to come down. And... oh, wrong timing there. Nice.
Nice.
So, usually that fight, it doesn't involve you killing any minions. It involves you going around hitting a bunch of switches. It can get very chaotic, and it takes a good amount of time. So yeah, nice little skip there. Saves us having to deal with that. Something quite interesting to note about the box is that it was actually put there by the devs. Originally, there was a way to do the skip that I just did without a box. But it was like stupidly difficult and stupidly precise, to the point where speedrunners just absolutely hated it. So they're just put in that box to make our lives just a little bit easier. And yeah, now we're back outside. This section isn't too bad. There are definitely some interesting points here. If I perform this bit in a certain way, it could bug out the camera. We'll see if I do it here. Yeah, nice. The camera just kind of abandons our guy Yumataro, but luckily it does catch up when we go into the next room. So we're gonna go to where a collectible is. This collectible is actually, going here is just ever so slightly quicker than taking the top half, because we get some momentum from the star. Okay, so we're gonna parry this by throwing the star at the same time it's gonna hit us. Make our way up here, and then we have another little secret path here. Oh, I banged my head on the wall there, or on the ceiling rather. There we go. We've got to be very careful because this enemy can be on some very annoying cycles, like he was there. Had to wait there just a little bit, otherwise we would have probably died. But now we got a checkpoint, and it's smooth sailing from here. We got another pretty cool skip in this room if I line myself up with that. Oh, got kind of trolled there. Can we hit the backup? Nope.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, we'll see if the enemy trolls us this time again. Yeah, there we go. That was what was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, the enemy just sometimes hits you. This room is very, very annoying. The enemies do seemingly random things. Okay, we actually got through it, like, pretty much unscathed, which is a big relief. That room is pretty troll. We're gonna do a double star jump here to get up to where a cosmetic item is. For those of you wondering, that's what the treasure chests are. They are cosmetic items. Ooh, gotta beat the enemy. However, going to get that actually is just slightly quicker. If we spam jump and we jump quick enough... Okay, nice. For some reason, it manipulates this Ohage, which usually charges at you, and if you touch it, you'll take damage. If for some reason, I don't know why, it just, like, stops going at its quick speed, and you can just jump on its head. Skip a tiny bit of platforming. Small micro-optimizer. Oh, whoops. Actually, cancelled that star there. But yeah, this is the final boss for this world. It's a little bit interesting. It's these snowballs. Now, they are a little bit scary, because they have rubber banding, which basically means, like, they're gonna, like, stay close to you no matter what. But in general, it's not too bad. There are some pretty tight jumps coming up, so hopefully I don't... Okay, one more. Nice. And now we have a pretty cool skip, actually. We're gonna throw the star just before I go in this pipe. And then, if I jump off it, there we go. This is another, like, secret put in by the devs, and it skips the last little bit of this boss fight. And just like that, there we go. We're done with that stage.
Nice.
Now we're on to Fishy Factory, and this level is annoying. It's very long. It's the longest level in the stage, and it has some pretty annoying skips. So we'll see how we deal with them. So first of all, we're gonna bait that Ohage to come over here and use it to make a star ride over here. And basically our whole philosophy, just gonna wait for this thing to be on a good cycle. Oh, nice. Our philosophy is we're just going to be staying as high up as possible. Oh, whoops.
Just jumped into that.
Yeah. But this whole level was designed with the idea that you would go, like, in and out of the buildings. If we just stay outside of the buildings on, like, the roof kind of area... I'm just going to grab this just for some safety here. In case I do a stupid again. So we're basically just going to be staying as high up as possible and not entering any of the buildings. Which... You can see here. Let's see if I get it. Should work. Nice. There is a backup for that in case, like, I do miss the jump. But it can be a little bit annoying to do, so I'm pretty happy I made that first try. These cycles are, like, pretty random. We just gotta kind of react to it and just adjust. Same with this one here. And nice, there we go. So once again, the game intends for you to drop down here. But if we just throw a star at the right time, nice. Can make our way up there. And now we have another, once again, just gonna ride along the roofs. Hopefully this Ohage turns around. Nice. And we're gonna use him. He should jump here. Perfect. And this allows us to skip another, like, pretty large portion of the level. If you don't use that Ohage, the only way to get up is by doing what we call a frame perfect star. which is where you throw the star on the frame before you land, and then you jump on the first frame when you land. It's pretty hard, so using the Ohagi is just like way simpler. And this is the whale. It's like a weird cat whale. So we're gonna take an intentional death here. Oh, I got hit out of the way, so I got to restart from checkpoint. And basically what that does is skip the animation of the whale sinking under the water and going away. Now we're gonna perform whale skip, hopefully. We'll see if this works. Ah, that is a bit unfortunate. I'm not really too sure on the specifics of why whale skip is so inconsistent. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the jank of Gimmick. Kind of is what it is.
I see.
But yeah, if it just decides to work one day, then you can actually just skip that whale. It saves about 8 seconds. Nothing too major though. Okay, now instead of doing the intended puzzle, if I throw the star and time my jump like that, I can just skip through. And now I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually remember what the intended solution is to this level or to this room. This kind of skip where you just jump and like land on the box has become so ingrained in my muscle memory. I don't even know what the real way is anymore. I've kind of lost all like thought process about that.
That's kind of some typical speedrun stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Just forgot how to do the game casually. And coming up now, we are about halfway through the stage, roughly just under, and we have the first mini-boss, or the first mini-boss? The only mini-boss in this world. And this one, there's a fun story about this one. When the game was originally released, it was possible to do the skip I'm gonna do. However, as you'll see, this mini-boss is meant to be just an auto-scroller. However, if I time a jump to get on top... Nice. So we can just run past it. This was always like in the game since its release. However, the camera never usually, well at least when the game originally released, the camera didn't actually follow the player, so you had to do all that platforming section you saw me do blindfolded. So once again, the devs just like updated that to make the camera update when the player moves past a certain point, which is a pretty cool feature. Made the lives of speedrunners a lot easier. And now we're kind of in the factory sort of area of the level. This is where the level starts to get a lot harder. A lot more precise movements and a lot less margin for error. Oh, cancel that start just a tad too late or early there, so I didn't fully get through the door. There we go. Okay, so we're on 3 HP here. That should be enough for this section. This section is pretty risky, so hopefully, fingers crossed I don't die. I'm just going to wait for this. Parry that. There we go. But basically, we're going to be taking an intentional damage boost. Nice, okay. Here, we're going to throw the star. Hopefully we get 3 bounces, and we should just damage boost off that guy. And that makes this section a whole lot easier. Although it can be a little bit risky if you have anything less than 3 HP. Being on 3 HP there gives us at least 1 HP of buffer, as a buffer room, where we have like 1 HP of opportunity to mess up. If we're on 2 HP there, we have to play that section perfectly and deal with the cycles, which can be pretty annoying. So we flick that lever, which allows this frog to start chasing us down. And while it comes down, we're just going to go and grab this key, which we need. And we're going to chuck it onto there, use the star while it goes across. Slightly more efficient. This room's got a pretty tight jump as well with the star. And just time our star like that, make it up like so. If we line ourselves up with a present and use the star, it actually allows us to just skip through that entire room. Usually you're meant to go to the right and go through a short platforming section, which flips around the way the conveyor belts are moving. But that obviously takes more time, so we're just going to use the star to skip that entirely. Now we have a pretty cool skip. It's pretty tight. So I don't have much room. Yeah, just missed it there, unfortunately. Basically, our goal is to try and time a star in between the cannonballs, land on it, just like that. There we go. If you see kind of around where I am right now, there's a kind of path that leads around the sort of box I was in. Ooh, whoops. Yeah, so that skip basically skips over a short auto-scroller portion, which basically forces the player to move at like a set speed. For a pretty long section. And coming up, we have another really tight jump. I hate this jump. Basically, our goal is to use the star to get into that pipe that's just off to my left. Oh my god. Okay, I thought I was dead there. Oh, okay. Well, that was
Nice.
surprisingly quick, actually. We're gonna grab that checkpoint and immediately restart. It gives us like a more favorable cycle here. One that's slightly more easier to work with. In a real run, I probably wouldn't reset there, but since it's a marathon setting, it's consistency is key, really. So take a small time loss just to make it ever so slightly more consistent. And just like that, we're in the final section. We're in the final few rooms of Fishy Factory. So we're in like the proper underground section now, where we're gonna refight the mini boss that we saw midway through this stage. But this time it's also an auto scroller, and once again we're gonna skip it. However, this skip is a lot harder. It involves precisely timing a jump off an enemy that comes out of a pipe. So well, I'll show you that just after this room. Nice. So I'm gonna line up myself up with a present and throw my star using a specific visual cue. Gonna ride the star up and then time a jump off the Hurhagi as it comes out of the pipe. And I land on top of the enemy, which allows me to just flick the switch and kill it. Usually that auto-scroller takes like multiple rooms. You just rise vertically, and then at the end, the enemy, like, the game allows you to flick that lever. But fortunately, if you get up there early, like I did, the game just kind of, yeah, sure, you can finish the level.
Oh, we got bird.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ride the bird, and there's a really tight jump here. I have to time my jump basically as soon as the bird's hitbox disappears to go out of bounds. Okay, nice. Do that.
Nice. That jump is a lot more precise than it looks, by the way.
Yeah, you gotta time it basically as just like a matter of milliseconds before the bird's hitbox disappears. And the backup for it isn't like that easy as well. So usually the best course of action if that happens is just to like restart the level, which obviously you don't want to happen. Now, the devs added quite a few shortcuts, and they did not hold back. These sections of platforming are like some of the hardest in the whole game. I'm actually kind of surprised at that first try. That was like a miracle. But yeah, those sections of platforming are not easy. The devs did not hold back in these sections. Okay, so we're gonna come down here. Nothing too crazy is going on for now. Because we got a bad cycle here, we can just like use the star to get a little bit of a boost there. Normally you would just run along the platforms if you get a kind of unfortunate cycle. And you can do what I did there. And just like that, we're at the mini-boss for this world. The last mini-boss in the game. Oh wait, that's not true, sorry. I forgot there was one in the final level. Yeah, so Cloud Castle is the second to last stage in the whole game. So we're actually making pretty good progress right now. But basically, this is where we get introduced to Spirahagis. Spirahagis are probably the worst enemy in the game. Basically, you have to hit them, like, either from behind, below, or above. You can't hit them from the front, which makes it very annoying. So I prioritize dealing with them first, because it makes it just, like, slightly easier. And now we're at probably one of, if not the hardest checkpoints in the whole game. If I make a certain mistake here, like, it could lose multiple minutes. So hopefully I don't make that. It's another dev-made shortcut that's just off screen here, so let's see if I get it. It's a really precise jump. Nice, okay. I'm gonna throw the star, and if I snipe it... Nice, there we go, first try. Okay. Not too bad, not too bad. So that skip, it skips quite a large majority of the level, actually. Just gotta... Oh my god! Okay, we're chilling. Wasn't even worried there. Can be a little tight to get that jump. Okay, so we're gonna throw the star in there. If we wait until our iframes run out, we can actually get hit by the wall there. Gives us a little bit of a speed boost. Ooh, oops, missed that star slot. We have to be very careful because this is where we get introduced to these archer cannons that kind of shoot arrows. And they can be pretty troll, especially with a pretty minor skip. It only saves like a few seconds, but it is pretty cool. It's coming up right now. This jump, nice. Okay, so that jump, sometimes the star, if you time it wrong, it can actually collide with one of the arrows that are in the cannon, and the star will just disappear. Obviously, it's not ideal. Nice, okay. Made that tight jump. Nice, okay. So, we're actually coming up on the end of the stage here. Only a few rooms left. Just gonna defeat you. Oh, whoops, missed that jump. Make our way back up. Oh, I can back that up. Nice, okay. So we got some, instead of going to the left, we'll take this little right path, which is nice, okay. Some pretty tight jumps. We have to jump a lot earlier than you think there. It's pretty annoying. It overrides a lot of the muscle memory you get like once you start to run this game. Those jumps are definitely a lot. The timing's strange compared to a lot of the rest of the game. Right, just gotta be careful. That archer huggy can sometimes be a little bit annoying. We can jump down here, weave our way through the platforms, and what the game expects is that when you throw that star, you actually trigger those enemies, but if we're very careful, we can actually avoid hitting those enemies, which prevents them from aggroing us and makes the section a lot easier. And now we're gonna make a boss kill itself.
Oh no. The cat.
Never mind, we got the worst
Oh, good.
RNG. I think that's a great start. Okay, it's fine. We save it. And there we go. So that's the final boss skip of the run.
Nice.
There we go. It just ends its own life. It's very sad stuff. And now we're on to Cloud Castle, or Sorcerer's Castle. Sorry. Yeah, Sorcerer's Castle. This is Sorcerer's Castle or Sorcerer's Sanctuary. This is the final level in the whole game. It's pretty short. Nice, made the quick cycle there. You can just barely get that quick kill. Also, those of you wondering why this boss is a pixel art, this was actually a boss featured in the original Gimmick released on the Super Famicom. So they put it in the final world here. Now, usually what you're meant to do is go through each of these 3 teleporters and slowly unlock access to the next ones. But if we time our star perfectly, we can actually skip the first 2 teleporters completely.
Nice.
Not the easiest thing to do, but saves a good chunk of time skipping 2 full rooms. And we gotta be very careful here, because if I get hit at the wrong time,
Something like
a
that.
little close. Yeah, you can just like lose all your momentum and fall into the void. Ooh, a little bit scary there. And now we're on to the final boss. Now if you look on the door here, you can see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maths is hard. I think there's 7.
That's 9.
Oh, there's 9. I was right the first time. So those represent the 9 sort of treasures, artifacts, whatever you want to call them, that you can collect throughout the game. And they basically completely transform this final boss, which is the donation incentive for this run, to showcase that more difficult final boss. Yeah, for this final boss is not too bad. We want to kill him above where the archers are, so then we can continue to hit him during the phase transition. Because in the transition to between first and second phase, he actually increases in height, and with 1 more star, there we go. So timing will end when the screen fades to black. Should be coming up in just a few seconds. About 3, 2, 1, and that's time.
Time 31, 34. Incredible performance. That was a very clean run.
Yeah, a few errors in there, but not overall. It wasn't actually too bad. So.
Yeah. GG's. By the way, we do have some donations. We have met the incentive. We got $4.20 from Yokai fans. Special thanks to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, who, in tandem with Game on Breathe On, made this event possible. Much love to all runners past, present, and future, and good luck. And $20 from Anonymous, which I'm assuming is your mother actually. Go Lewzr.
Probably, yeah. Thank you, Mom. So we're just gonna skip through the credits here. Now, you'll see a little Easter egg that the devs put in to hint that there's more, as we actually didn't save the girl. We didn't save her. Very sad stuff. So to save her, we actually have to do the true ending version of Sorcerer's Sanctuary, which I believe. Are you ready to showcase now?
Yep.
Ready to go?
Just go for it.
All right. Well, let's go then. So this version of Sorcerer's Sanctuary starts out exactly the same as the rest, up until the final boss. I will, just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'll go for a slightly harder version of not this boss, but if you remember the room after where I made that jump. Oh, I threw the star the wrong way there. Oh, he blocked it. There we go. If you remember in the next room, I threw a star to skip over to the final check or the final room. There's actually a slightly harder way to do it, which I'll try and showcase now. Looks a little something like this. Oh, just barely didn't make it. Give it another try. Oh, wait, I gotta be here. There we go. Ah, not quite. I'll give it one more try. We're so close.
Oh, one more.
One more for the fans. I'll do one more for the fans then.
Yeah, I told you.
There we go. So yeah, back in this room with annoying cycles. Oh, we move. Same as normal, really. But I suppose I should explain a little bit about what the final boss will look like. If you remember from the last run that happened, well, a few moments ago. Ooh, just got focused in. There we go. Almost died. The final boss was pretty simple. This one, there are, I believe, 4 phases, as well as difficult platforming sections between, specifically phase 1 and 2. So here we go. The first phase of this fight it's probably the hardest. Especially the start. I have to use a star to get really close to him, and I have to get 2 hits in like almost immediately. Okay, nice. I can use a star here. Oh, okay, I missed it there. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. I can just position myself here. So we want to kill him as far away from the archer as possible. Nice, that looks about good. And then if we time our stars just right, we can actually just get a bounce like that. Nice, and hit him like that. This is mainly what makes the fight so hard. Also, the Spiro Huggies are back again, and they're worse than ever. Might just have to wait for him to come down here. Nice, okay, got through it. That actually wasn't too bad. And now as you can see, instead of the fight ending, we actually move on to this platforming section, which is probably the hardest platforming section in the whole game. This is where the game like really tests how much you've learned throughout the game. So I'm gonna make a star right across here. Try and make a really tight jump there. Nice. Okay. This section is pretty annoying because if I miss the optimal cycle, it becomes a lot harder. And I'm kind of just at the mercy of what the bubbles want to do. Okay, and just barely missed that. You have to time your jump, so you just land on it just as the star slot goes in. Or the star goes into the star slot, I should say. There we go, that's the optimal cycle. Makes it a lot easier. And now we just have to jump up here. This next section, I'll be real, when I first played through this game casually, I did the speedrun away. You can see there's a bunch of pipes up there. There's I don't know what the challenge is there. That's how I did it casually. I don't know. It is what it is. And now we're on to the second phase of the fight. This phase does have a pretty cool skip-in. Let's see if I can get it. So these first 2 hits we're just going to do normally, and then he's going to come into the middle of the screen, and we're going to take a damage boost off the lava, and then hit him while he's in the middle of that attack. And basically what that does is it just like kind of bugs out the game. As you can see when I hit him, he should just go to the right, and he'll just attack at nothing. And yeah, that's just kind of cool. And he's going to chuck some fireballs at us. We're just going to have to run away. I think damage boost, though. He only requires 1 more hit to kill. Nice. I do have to be careful because I'm on 1 HP. Okay. He actually still has a hitbox during that section. Which is, so if I rush in, I'll just die. And now we're at phase 3. I guess you could call it. You could also call this the platforming section. I call it phase 3. It's kind of just an auto-scroller. There's not really much to it. I have some pretty tight sections coming up though, where I will have to like make some pretty tight cycles if I want to get through it. But for now, we are just chilling though. One of these tight cycles is coming up right about now. I'm just gonna use a little bit of a setup to jump up there. Jump through here, and then if I'm just quick enough, I can make it up there. And we'll drop down through there, and if we're just quick enough, we can just barely squeeze under there. And that's the all-scroll section done. And now we're on to the very final bit of the fight, where he'll make multiple clones of himself. There is a certain visual cue I'll be looking out for to see which one he is. Oh yeah, he's that one, because he's the only one left. I killed his clone there. Basically, if he laughs, then it has to be... And you can see he did just do like a little laughing animation as he spawned in. So therefore I know he's the right one. Now he does have other attacks than just creating clones of himself in this phase. But assuming I perform everything correctly, we're going to be killing him quickly enough. To the point where he doesn't get a chance to do those attacks. So it should just be one more hit on 1 HP, a little bit spooky. And there it is. So
Nice.
That's the true ending section. Definitely the hardest point of the game. But there we go. That's it. So I guess timing will end when it fades to black if we were timing it. And that's it. So we saved the girl. We did the true ending. So we can see there she is, all sad. But yeah, we save her. We take her back to her mum, and it's the happy ending. So yeah, I guess that's everything.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Lewz, for running. That was incredible. That movement in this game looks so thick.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of practice. But it's pretty satisfying.
If you want to say / do anything before we move on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I wanna shout out like the developers of this game, and just Gimmick as like a game. I think it's a great game. I think that like there's a lot more to see than what you saw in this run. Although you did see like the true ending section of Sorcerer's Sanctuary, as well as seeing like the majority of the game. A lot of it I skipped, specifically in like Arctic Ascent. I skipped quite a few rooms in Tadpole Temple and other things like that. So I highly recommend you go out and play the game. Even like just, I'm not saying you have to speedrun it, just to play it casually. It's just a great time. One of the best platformer games I've ever played. It really is fantastic. The soundtrack, the graphics, everything about it. It really is just awesome. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I really have to say.
Before you go, we actually have one more donation for you for your run. We got $30 from Radionics, saying, "Seeing this game for the first time, it looks so clean." $30. $30 is huge.
$30 is huge. Thank you,
And that actually puts us at $400, I believe.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
400. Man, what a milestone. Huge shout out to anyone that's like donating. That's incredible, genuinely.
Yeah. Alright. But thank you, Lewz. I keep almost calling you Lewzr, but I really try not to. Anyways, thank you, Lewz, for joining. And yeah. We'll see you in the next run, which actually what is it? Lego Batman.
I believe it's it's Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Yes, should be really cool.
Right. Goodbye, Lewz. See you in a bit.
Bye, guys.